Today we have a Fasco Parlour Fan. This one is in antique brass and is of the Ornate variety. The model number is B952. The B denoting that this parlour fan is part of the B series, which was the Ornate series of parlour fans. The A series was the plain. And then the 952 indicates that this was a 52-inch parlour fan, the 52 being pretty obvious what that stands for. It also has a Fasco schoolhouse light kit and cane blades. This is my first set of Fasco cane and I'm absolutely loving it. And as you can possibly see, these blades are pretty thick. They're definitely significantly thicker compared to Fasco's non-cane blades. There's your pull chain and the Vari-Low knob on this side. It may be a little hard to tell on the camera, but those Fasco blades are pretty thick. Right over here, for instance, you have a plain Fasco blade, and this one is significantly thinner. Again, you might not be able to tell on camera, but there is a noticeable difference in weight when holding them and in thickness if you look close enough. This globe did not originally come with this fan. It originally came with this big stained glass globe that was open on the bottom. That thing was pretty heavy and gaudy, so I replaced it with a more traditional looking globe. I think it looks a bit better this way. And then there's the light. And we'll start the fan off at minimum speed on the Vari-Low. And yes, the Vari-Low does thankfully work on this fan. As Fasco's Vari-Low, it doesn't fail too terribly often, but it does still fail every once in a while. Then we'll edge this up ever so slightly. The Vari-Low knob is a bit sensitive to movement, so you do have to be a little precise with it to get the fan to be exactly where you want it in terms of speed. Sorry, the camera's really being stubborn and not focusing. The fan overall is in pretty good shape with really no chips or dings aside from the missing downrod paint, but that's honestly pretty common with these Fascos with slide-up canopies. The blades are decently balanced, but the fan does still wobble on high. It is using proper mounting. I did switch out the mounting bracket for this particular video because I wanted to balance this fan as much as possible, because it really seems like Fasco dropped the ball when it came to balancing their fans, or making sure their fans were balanced before, selling them off to people. Camera still refusing to focus for some reason. And that's full speed on the Vari-Low. The bearings are in pretty good shape on this fan, thankfully. When I first got it, there was a string wrapped around the shaft, stuck between the top of the switch housing and the flywheel. I was able to get most of that out, though, thankfully, but it was pretty tightly wrapped in there. There is some dry bearing noise, and I'm not sure if that's caused by the string or just the bearings being 40 years old in general, but either way, it's not that bad. Then we'll click it up to high. And there is a little wobble. The original seller did tell me a specific order to put the blades in. He put little sticky notes on each blade telling me which order to put them in to make sure the wobble was as minimal as possible, so this is probably the best it's going to get, unless I break out a balancing kit. This fan is cranking out a ton of air, though. Very great performer. And there you go, an antique brass Ornate Fasco Parlour Fan with cane blades.